Yo, what's up everyone? How are you? If you're watching this right now, if you see this face, if you hear this voice, please subscribe to the channel and tell all your friends about the channel. Tell your family, tell your wife, tell your girlfriend, tell your boyfriend, tell your husband, tell your significant other, tell your lover, tell your hater. I don't know what that means. Just tell everyone about the channel. Greatly appreciated. Also, if you're watching this on the day that it was filmed, today is Wednesday, November 11th, 2020, a year that will live in infamy. And on today, it is Veterans Day here in the United States. So to everyone that has served this great country in any capacity, we thank you for your service on this day. I especially think of my grandfather who passed away about a year ago, who served this country proudly in World War II, and his service meant a great deal to him. And to all of you who have sacrificed and given everything for our freedom, you are greatly appreciated. This one's going to be a quick one, but I wanted to get the sentiment out there. So some of you, a lot of you won't get or understand or know about the topic I'm about to cover. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but I thought it was important to say a few words. So, as you know, back from August of 2012 to November of 2019, I worked at 790 The Ticket. When I originally joined up there, it was Lincoln Financial. Just before that, it was Jefferson Pilot. I missed those days, but I joined in the Lincoln Financial days, and it became Entercom, and then they merged with CBS and 560 QAM and all the other stations. We all became one big dysfunctional, stupid family. And that was a bad move because now the country, the company's in all sorts of problems like every other radio company. But for those 7 years that I was a part of The Ticket, and even before that a little bit, I had a really good relationship with everyone on the Dan Batard Show. First, because when I started working at The Ticket, they were actually still doing the show locally at the studios in Miami Gardens, and I interacted with those guys. And I knew, started to get to know them and became really friendly with them. And I would say, let me back up. In my first stint in sports radio, and I was at QAM, especially not towards the latter end of my stint at QAM, but certainly, you know, in the beginning parts of QAM when I was there, or not the beginning parts, but like, so the Batard Show came on air around what, 2003, 2004, whatever it was. And I would tell you right now, I didn't get the show, because back then I was all about sports, and I just didn't get it. When I first turned on Le Batard and Stu Gatz, all I could think about was, it's like two girls laughing. That's the show. It's two girls laughing. I didn't get it. I really didn't get it, to be honest with you. And it's funny because Dan has said this to me a couple of times. I heard you hated me. I heard you didn't like me because of you worked for Hank Goldberg and he told you not to like me, and that wasn't never the case. I had no issues with Dan at all. I really looked up to him as a journalist, and as a matter of fact, previously, before they even started the show on The Ticket, Dan was doing the Sunday morning sports page show for ESPN from the bullpen, which is where like the producers do their work. But really it was just like an office chair and like a microphone in the corner of some room at the QAM studio. So every Sunday morning early on in my career at QAM, I was actually the producer on duty at QAM when Dan would stumble in after a night in the Grove to do his ESPN Sunday morning show and I would have to set him up with Bristol and talk to Bristol and get him all set up and engineer that show while also running the board for QAM. So I had some interaction with Dan even way before he even started radio. So, and obviously I had seen him at a million press conferences and in all my time of covering South Florida sports and all that stuff. So obviously I knew Dan a little bit, but I just didn't get the show. I'll be honest with you. I didn't get the show. I mean, I knew Stu Gatz. We interned together like going back to 1997 on Hank's show. So I knew Stu Gatz forever. I think we smoked a doobie together in his car like in 1999. I don't know. But so I knew those guys. But I just didn't get the show, really, because my brain was programmed to think of sports radio as something else. But as their show grew, I started to get it more. And to the point where, while we were working at QAM, we would have, there was an old school like boombox in the bullpen. We would have the Batard Show on the boombox while doing our work at QAM. So I guess that goes to show you what we thought was the better, more entertaining radio show. Fast forward, I get let go from QAM because of a douchebag I won't talk about. But fast forward, I then get a job at the Ticket and am kind of, now I'm a part of the world that surrounds the Batard Show a little bit. Got to know those guys. And especially with, you know, I'm not sure if you know or don't know, and it doesn't really matter, but one of my best friends in life is Allison Turner, who of course was a producer, talent booker on Dan's show and was Dan's personal assistant. She was great friends with Hawk, who was Dan's producer before Mike Ryan. So I felt like I knew a lot about the show, but as I came to know more about just the stuff off the air, about Dan, about how loyal he is, about what kind of person he is, how altruistic he is, about how he truly cares about the people around him, it became abundantly clear to me that this was not your typical sports radio or radio personality, because there's not, I can name them on like one hand of the people that I've worked with that actually gave a shit about the people they worked with. I know some of you will laugh, but Hank was actually one of those people. If you were in Hank's universe, if you were not in his universe, he would come off as the rudest, most impolite person ever. But if you were in his universe, he actually would be very loyal and do whatever he could for you. The other is the Mad Dog, Jim Mandich. I mean, if you were, just an example, like one day I had a leak in my roof. Mad Dog's business was drywalling, but industrial drywalling, like for high rises. And all of a sudden I had a leak in my roof, and or in my drop ceiling. And I called Mad Dog. I said, hey, what you know about the stuff I don't, like, who do I call? He's like, Beastie Boy, I've got you. And like an hour later, he pulled someone off some high-rise job to come over to my house and fix my ceiling for free. He didn't have to do that. And obviously my job was nothing compared to like the 30-story high-rise he was working on, but that's what he did. And Dan is right up there with the most loyal people in this business. Where when you work with Dan, it's like being in his family. And it's been something I've admired for a long time, because I've just heard the stories about how Dan treats the people that work for him. Almost to a fault, he treats them loyally. So why am I talking about this? Well, if you missed it, Chris Cote, Greg Cote's son, who's a producer on the show, was let go in a massive layoff by ESPN. And unfortunately, I could go on forever about this industry and being ill-prepared for these times and laying off people. It's happening at iHeart. It's happening at Entercom. It's just happening everywhere. So it affected ESPN. They laid off 300 people. Chris Cote was one of them. And I love Chris. I think he's a really funny guy. I think he's hilarious on the show. But, and Dan said it this morning, there's literally no one on this earth that has any bone to pick with Chris Cote. He's like literally the most nicest guy ever that you could ever come into contact with. He never stole a freight train. He's just the nicest, most affable person. And, you know, I loved when I got to work with him a little bit at the ticket. So Chris Cote was let go. And having been there myself, having been fired myself twice now from this industry, it is life-changing. It could be life-altering. It could be life-shattering. I'll be honest with you, I still not have recovered from being let go from Entercom basically a year ago. I haven't recovered yet. It actually might be the year anniversary. I don't know. But I haven't recovered yet, emotionally, mentally, financially. I had a job in between. The pandemic screwed that up. And I'm still looking for gainful employment. And so I get it. I totally understood. When I found out that Chris lost his job, I was heartbroken. And then, you know, to hear, so Dan told the story this morning that he got no heads up, that no one got any heads up. It just happened. Which is, I think, crappy of ESPN. If you're going to get rid of, here's the thing, it's like, if you're going to let go of someone that's integral to someone else's show, you at least owe that person a heads up that, hey, this is going to happen. I just want you to know so you're not caught off guard, and this is how we're going to do it, and blah, blah, blah. Now, obviously, Dan does good for himself and was going to try to make a deal with ESPN. And this has been done before. Before those guys moved to South Beach, but they were on ESPN Radio, Dan and Stu were Disney employees, but the shipping container wasn't. The shipping container still worked for $7.90 the ticket. It was a weird kind of agreement. And Dan made sure that those guys got paid because Disney wasn't going to take care of them. And he really stuck his foot out for those guys. So come to find out that basically Dan, after being pissed off and fired up and saddened about how this Chris Cote thing went down and seeing the outpouring, well, it wouldn't matter if he saw the outpouring or not, but I've never seen this much outpouring of emotions from an audience over a producer, because Chris does a lot more than just produce the show, for a show. I've never seen anything like it. They've inundated the ESPN switchboard, if you will. But Dan did what Dan was going to do, which is he hired Chris on his own. Dan, for a long time, had Allison Turner as his personal assistant. Allison moved up to Bristol to do bigger and better things within ESPN. She's booking all of the guests that you see on the TV and the radio. She's a big muckety-muck now, and she's awesome. She works her ass off, and I'm so proud of her. But that left a void in Dan's life for someone. Dan has a lot going on. There's a lot of forces that pull at Dan, and listen, I wish I got to this point where I needed a personal assistant, but Dan needs a personal assistant. So what did he do? He hired Chris as his personal assistant, paying him more than ESPN was paying him. And Chris seems like he'll be okay. And when I saw the news, when I heard the news this morning, because I kept refreshing the podcast, refreshing. Where's the news? Where's the news? And I heard that, I got tears in my eyes because I was just so overwhelmed with how great of a person Dan Batard is and how happy I am for Chris that he doesn't have to experience what a lot of us have had to experience, which is a complete life change due to this industry. So he had a horrible weekend, but after a couple of days, it gets sorted out, and Dan Batard, with his cape on and a big S on his chest, comes flying in and saves the day. So it's just awesome. You just don't find that in this industry. It's just, and I've wrote about this a lot in different blogs I've written or different podcasts I've done, is that in this sports radio industry, everyone stabs each other in the back. No one wants anyone else to succeed. No one wants anyone to have any success, because that might affect your success and impact your career growth. It's horrible. But I have never been like that. I've been accused of being like that, but I'm not really like that. There are way more stories out there, and I'm not tooting my own horn, of me helping people get jobs, helping people advance, pushing people for jobs, pushing people to advance, even though in some cases it may have hurt my own career growth, rather than me trying to keep someone down. That's just not me. That's not the way I am. I always wanted to help. If, you know, back in the day when I first started out, if there was someone from the University of Miami, like a Jesse Agler, that I knew was going to be great, I would get him to wherever I thought, you know, he could help himself. And Jesse's gone on to be an amazing broadcaster for the pods, and obviously way more talented than I am, but it didn't stop me from trying to help him. And there's been countless other stories, but Dan takes it to a whole new level. If you're loyal to Dan, Dan will help you in ways that can't even be put into words. And it's just unbelievable. So I'm so happy for Chris. I'm so happy for the Batard Show. I'll be honest, I wish I was a part of their universe. It seems amazing to be, I know it's amazing to be in, but it's familial. Familial? Yes. Which is the best kind of environment. When you're acting as a family and not as colleagues or work people, that's when it really clicks. So maybe someday, right? Maybe someday, Dan will have his own channel somewhere, and I'll get a little tiny piece of the Batard familial experience. But I'm so happy for Chris. I'm so happy for those guys on that show. Just more props to Dan Batard and Stu Gotts for taking care of their own. Just amazing, amazing, amazing. And it almost brings a tear to my eye, because no one else is like that in this industry. All right, that'll do it for me. Keep subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you giving me some time. And to all the veterans out there, thank you for your service. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will see you when I see you. Peace.